Well, hey guys, my name is Travis Williams. I live in Southeast Ohio. Been friends with Daniel from the Hunters Ministry for since 2019. I think we've been buddies. Last year, he came in and hunt, and he asked me to share a few things today about just kind of my personal journey. I started hunting whenever I was a kid. My dad took me out coon hunting. I remember being like 4 or 5 years old. He'd take me out in the woods. We'd hear the dogs barking. We'd tree coons, and I loved that. Started squirrel hunting whenever I was old enough to hold a gun. And then my big passion over the years has become deer hunting. Growing up, one of my favorite things was the opening day of gun season. A bunch of guys would get together in this basement. We'd drink coffee and shoot the breeze. And I was one of the guys. And I got to go out and just spend time in the woods. We do deer drives. And that's about the only hunting that I did for like a really, really long time. And then 2009, I got married, and I'd used a crossbow a couple times during college, and I kind of liked the idea of bow hunting, just didn't know much about it. But my dad had an old bear bow, and picked it up, started shooting it, and I got an old climber, and yeah, the rest was history. I went out one morning, shot a doe, and I was hooked from that point on. So, somewhere to ask me what's my favorite thing to hunt, what do I enjoy going after the most? Probably whitetails. I love turkey hunting. That's a great time. And then once every 3 years, I got to go chase Rocky Mountain elk out in Colorado or Montana, and love that as well. Thought I'd take a few shots today. I'm up in my saddle. That's something I've started hunting out of here in the last few years, and it's been a fun thing. So I'm practicing some steep angle shots today. Oh, forgot to turn my hat around backwards. That's always a big part of this recurve stuff. And that was a good shot. And I think the thing that I've learned just so much about just being out in creation, one, you're spending time with God. You're up in the tree. I don't consider being in the tree church. Some people will say that. I think church is the body of people that you belong to. It's a bigger thing than just you and God one-on-one. But I do think being in a tree or being out in the woods, whether I'm on the ground or in a blind or whatever, it allows me just to connect with my creator that made me. And so I'm a part of a group called Shedding Light Outdoors, and our whole mission is to shed the light. We want to let our light shine before men so that they see our good deeds and honor our Father who is in heaven. So through this whole thing, creation declares the glory of God. If I can point people to the God that made this, and teach them lessons that I learned from just being in the woods. So many things the woods teaches us. I think that comes from God. And so my mission in life is to point people back to that. Recently, I've just learned more and more about what it means to make a disciple. That's what Jesus said. He said, make disciples. He didn't say, go to church once a week and repeat, and you'll be good. He said, be in relationship with people. That's how he made disciples. So every week I'm trying to connect with people, and I actually use hunting as a way of doing that. Getting in the woods with new people or connecting with people through hunting, my podcast, other ways, has allowed me to try and get better at that, to understand what that looks like. And so that's a big part of my life. And I'm just excited to share that. Whenever I think about my faith journey, that started whenever I was 11 years old, or maybe even before. I grew up in church, and my parents took me. And I mean, I didn't go off the deep end or do anything crazy. I just knew at 11 that I had sinned, and that sin separated me from my loving Father. And so I talked to my parents about it. And on June 15th, 1997, I was baptized into Jesus Christ. And I remember coming up out of the water, the feeling of being clean and whole. Of course, you go into high school years and you make some bad choices. But whenever I was about a sophomore in high school, I started thinking about going into ministry. I started thinking about getting a little bit more serious about my faith and sharing it with others. And that's when God really got a hold of me and started leading me down the path that led me to where I am now. I work in full-time ministry. I have this hunting ministry that I get to do, and that has led me to some really cool things, like meeting a couple Australian buddies and having them come over here to hunt last year, and just some really cool things. So I'd encourage you. The thing I'd encourage people is, we like to play this comparison game. It's not about you getting to where somebody else is. It's about you taking your next step. I think about this recurve that I've been shooting. It's been a slow process for me to gain confidence, to learn how to draw it back, how to anchor, how to look down the arrow, to aim, and to make a kill shot. It's taken me a while to get to that point. I've had to build. I didn't have it all together at one point. I still don't have it all together. And as you grow in your faith, it's going to be the same thing. What's your next step? Maybe it's being baptized into Christ and accepting his gift. Or maybe you've done that, but you just are kind of sitting on a pew every Sunday. Maybe it's not even that. You're not even connected to a church body. I'd encourage you to take those next steps. Maybe it's getting connected. Maybe it's like, hey, how did Jesus make disciples? Looking into that, reading some books, asking questions, learning about what it looks like to fulfill the mission. Our mission is not just to show up once a week and repeat until Jesus comes back. That's not it. Our mission is to make disciples and love people the way Jesus did. So just thought I'd share those things with you guys today. I'm going to take my last shot here. I got another target over here to my other side. I'm going to try it real quick and just see how this goes. So. It's a good shot. Guys, thanks for listening to my story. Hope that you'll subscribe to Daniel's channel here, The Hunter's Ministry. It's an awesome channel. He does a great job. And if you're interested, you can check out Shedding Light Outdoors. And hopefully this was encouraging to you. Remember to shed the light.